Hi guys, welcome back to the Clockwork Noodle channel where we admire ramen, love noodles, and on the side as well, we do actually talk about anime, break down anime. It's just a very random channel, but thank you for tuning back in again. This week's episode, wow. I'm going to give you some context before I go into the actual breakdown. If you don't know, I break down Golden Kamuy episodes as well, and that is yesterday's video. So I had to deal with the heaviest episode ever yesterday, and the editing process, the video process, I was up till 3 a.m. because of just how big, how major that episode was. So I've come off being emotionally scarred from an episode to come to this, to come to what Ikebukuro West Gate Park, which tends to be normally a 20-minute video, which is quite easy to do, to this. First things first, guys. Hello, welcome. I'm Clockwork Noodles. Please make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you have found me and you want to see more of what I do. My winter 2021 video is now up on the channel. Please go and watch that. To find out what animes will be on my breakdown list next season, I have picked 4 animes to choose. So hopefully you guys will be watching one of those 4, or maybe even all 4 of them. Also in that video, I have crowned my top 3 anime of fall 2020. You guys can go ahead, see what I crowned as my favourite anime of fall. One last, if you are on Discord, that you can join the server, you will get a notification whenever a video goes up on my page. It will also allow you to know if there's a delay on a video or if there is any big major announcements with me. Hopefully there will be a few more coming up as we get a little bit bigger. Wow, this is the episode which initially I was worried about this week's episode. I wasn't prepared. I was mentally not prepared. And obviously I've come from Golden Kamuy having me in tears to this episode literally with my heart in my goddamn mouth going, oh my god. I'm shocked. I've got so much to say. Let's just go through it. And this will probably be the longest video for Ikebukuro West Gate Park so far because there's just so much to say. I don't even know how I feel right now. I'm broken. I'm worried. I'm really worried. I've never been so worried I am right now about both my boys. And yes, I've decided that King after this episode is my boy. Even though he might not be my boy for a very long time. This week's episode is episode 11, Nightmare on Sunshine Street, part 1. And it really was just an utter nightmare. We open on a sequence which gets replayed a little bit later. So the open actually jumps us into the situation where Makoto is being chased by the G-Boys with bats. And he's being called a traitor and they want revenge for King. Of course, at this point, nothing makes sense. And we're like, wait, what? And Makoto has a gun in his hand. And I'm like, wait, what? And then we see the G-Boys clashing with the Red Angels where the words murderers getting thrown around, which at this point, it could be both sides pulling that word. It then ends on a very ominous image of King laying in a pool of blood. And I put Makoto being framed right at the top without even knowing he had been framed, and he has. Wow! That opened, that just made me cry. I was devastated to see that. This episode really hurts because a lot of the characters who I like, and obviously my characters I like are quite spread out into different groups. Some characters' decisions hurt me this episode. Some characters in general just got hurt. This episode was painful to watch. So we actually open before the credits. So the open takes place later in the episode whilst we actually open on the beginning. We can see that the Red Angels are starting to become more and more at odds with the G-Boys. They're starting to argue more and more about who the streets actually belong to. Initially, we see Makoto telling the Red Angels to stop what they're doing, calm down, chill out. The Red Angels are reminding the G-Boys that they were the ones who bailed them out. And that obviously starts into a bit more of an argument. So more and more arguments are breaking out between the two groups. And the Red Angels are no longer holding back as they used to do. Essentially, they put it down to a border dispute, but I think there's a hell of a lot more going on than just the border dispute. We cut back to Koichi stroking a cat whilst he is being updated by Isegai, I hate you. Sorry guys. Isegai is updating Koichi on everything that's going down. Makoto is the person I feel for the absolute most because Makoto is a mediator. So as much as we see him being apparently with the G-Boys quite often, he's not. He's actually a mediator where he's friends with King. He's friendly with those guys. He's not actually a G-Boy, but he is. We can see that he's being stuck in between. And it's the person stuck in between who really is paying for both sides. He says he's getting into trouble more and more at home because he has to keep coming out to settle all these arguments. see that Koichi says that he's from a family who don't believe in starting anything, but they will fight back if attacked. We've heard him say this before. Thankfully, at this point, he's like, I will talk to King. King actually agrees to discuss tomorrow, where he's okay, he's fine. He says we can work something out, we'll make it work. He's happy to negotiate things like territorial disputes and find out who has what zone. I feel bad because quite a few times during these episodes I've been harsh on King. I feel like the anime was very, very selective in the information they gave for him, so they did that on purpose. I noticed it quite quickly, and look at this. Just look at this face. Look how shady Isegai bloody looks. And before I even figured anything out, all I've put, I read you the little note. Isegai looks shady. Is he planning something? Yes, he is. And I'm so shocked. Obviously, I've done a breakdown. I think I did a little bit of a breakdown when Isegai was even announced to us. And I don't think I would have ever guessed that it would have been him where the betrayal came from. Because we also get introduced to the Red Angel's Sumi. He's a really loud character, and we can see it's him who's starting to shout about how they don't trust the G-Boys. So I was initially like, oh, is it going to be all about Utsumi? Because we've only just met this guy, and he's only just been presented to us, so it must be him. It's actually a mix of Isegai and Utsumi, but the betrayal from Isegai is the one which hits harder. I feel bad because Koichi in this episode, I know why he's doing it. In fact, that he's being played. But Koichi, you have really fallen in the ranks this week for popularity. For me personally, Koichi, I am not backing you. Koichi believes that King is a friend, which is nice because I always thought that's what they considered each other. But he does say that there's a lot of hot-headed G-boys in the group. Makoto then says, "It's okay. I'll be there. I'll guarantee your safety." And that is when the issue occurs. This is when it all starts to kick off. A Red Angel approaches Makoto to try saying something, but he is met by the death glares, literal death glares by Isegai and Utsumi, who stop him. He doesn't say anything, and this is where I start going. These guys are definitely planning something. The music is really, really ominous at this point. We cut to just a random man in the park wanting to drink a beer, where we see a dead boy, a dead Red Angel, stabbed in the park. Makoto is informed by his mother that the Red Angels are on the news. Also, the same boy who tried to talk to Makoto and try and tell him something, which makes me believe that he was killed by the Red Angels because he tried to blab. He tried to say something to Makoto that something was up. His big mistake: don't say it when Makoto is straight in front of the rest of the group. You should have waited to Makoto to break away. It's Isegai and Utsumi. I've already pinpointed exactly who it is, and I think I figured it out, but I'll leave the actual breakdown to their motives a little bit later. This is really, really hard to watch, where Koichi starts to cry. We even see him cry, but he's so quick to go, is this the doing of the G-Boys? And of course, Utsumi being as loud as he bloody is, yes, he starts to go, yes, it's their fault. And we see how angry Koichi is in this scene, and he's in tears, and it's Utsumi who is so quick to push in and go, yes, I knew we shouldn't have trusted the G-Boys, it's the G-Boys. I am disappointed in Koichi, but I get it, he's being played by the other two, and he's not thinking logically to go, oh my god, this couldn't have possibly been anyone but the G-Boys. He agrees that we need to fight back, and he wants blood. But it's just how far he goes. It's just how far Koichi goes to literally, we see later on that there's deaths of innocent people, and there's so many deaths now. Isegai is playing Koichi like a fiddle. Makoto is sent an ultimatum, which is really unfair by Koichi, and I hate him for doing this. You're either with us or you are against us. There is no middle ground. Basically, I think Isegai tells him it's not safe for you to be here anymore, and he vanishes to go see King. Oh, my boys. This visual's clever. If you're not looking for it, this visual doesn't look like anything. But the visual of the two meeting behind bars is very, very clever, and it tells you a lot about what is going to happen. It kind of prepared me for what I was literally about to see. They meet behind bars. Generally, if you're behind bars, you are trapped. You are caged, and you are being caught within something. Someone is trapping you. King says he tried to look into the case, but King also says, I did not give the order. So we know King did not give the order to kill that Red Angel. However, he does say it doesn't rule out that there could be a reckless G-boy within our midst who is keeping quiet. It's not King, guys. I'm 100% it's not King. Also, because he doesn't immediately try and clear the G-boys. He doesn't actually say, yeah, no, it's not us. He stays logical. He says, yes, it's a possibility it could be a G-boy. He is asked, what would you do if it was a G-boy? And level-headed King. I'm not sure what I would do, but I would probably hand him over to the police because that is the right thing to do. But I'd hire him a good lawyer, so hopefully he would be understood, and obviously he would hopefully get a decent sentence. But that is the correct thing to do. King starting to shuffle up a few notches in my little rankings. King does state that it's not enough to calm the other side. It's simply giving the G-boy over will not calm the anger that is on the other side. And he said we'd probably have to fight because we're going to get messed up if we don't. If the G-boy stood there doing nothing and just took it, there would be more deaths than there is already. We get a nice snow visual, which is quite sad because this visual also tells us what's about to happen. It's a cold scenery. Something is about to get covered up because something is going on beneath the covers of the snow. There's about to be a cover-up and there's about to be somebody very precious to me getting framed. Makoto is the voice of reason, where he says wherever there is conflict, somebody is always behind it. There's always someone behind it who is stirring distrust, but they're benefiting. The boy who was killed tried to tell me something. Is there something going on behind the scenes? Where we are interrupted by Mitsuki. Oh, my heart broke because it was Mitsuki as well, because we've had the backstory with Mitsuki. Visually distressed, opens fires. He comes in, opens fire on King. King is shot, I think, roughly 3 times. It really is just, I've even put fuck the Red Angels. It might sound harsh, but yes, I'm sorry. Isegai was a member of the Red Angels and he clearly is the one who's up to something. But at the same time, it's still the Red Angels who have taken to go and shoot King. The Red Angels essentially shoot King. Mitsuki runs away. Makoto ends up with the gun because he forces it off him. However, Makoto holding the gun, a picture is taken of him, he ends up getting framed. And I knew this was going to happen because I think this is our second little link to what's actually going on as well. I did write King is dead at this point. I said, is King dead? My anime list has changed the description of the anime and it looks ominous because it says that Makoto loses somebody. So I am preparing myself for the worst. However, at the end of this part 1, King is confirmed alive, but in a very critical state. I would be shocked if King made a recovery from this. The culprits who actually did it, the people, Isegai is the one taking photos and the man behind him, I'm not quite sure, but I have a feeling the man behind him is probably going to talk in a Kansai accent. What we learn is that they failed to kill Makoto. Makoto was supposed to die there and then with King. Really hurts me because also the fact that Isegai doesn't seem to give much of a damn and he's happy the fact that Makoto is going to die. When we've actually seen how close Isegai has been so far with Makoto, there's been quite a few episodes where we've seen the two interacting with each other and that's why this betrayal hurts. This betrayal really, really hurts. Makoto is sadly arrested. He's cornered by the police who believe that he shot King. That is also why he was called a traitor right at the start. But Makoto makes a huge mistake. He runs. He doesn't hand himself over to try and clear his name, try and explain what's going on, because I believe as well he would be so much safer in the hands of the police. But no, he runs away, making a massive mistake. He runs to his house, the first place that he goes, which really was a big mistake to go straight to your house. Go confronts Makoto that his picture is now doing the rounds, of the picture of him holding the gun above a dead king. A presumably dead king in that picture. And the internet is now ablaze with rumours where Makoto is officially set up as the perpetrator. He's the one who apparently killed King. Makoto's mum, however, comes up to him, hands him some money and tells him, you need to go. We're going to handle whatever comes our way. Which is so nice. I love the fact that she trusts in Makoto that much. She knows it wasn't him. We are interrupted by a speeding van coming towards them at quite great speed. And Makoto's mum is sadly injured because obviously Makoto was actually the target. We know he was left alive. It was clearly the guys again trying to off Makoto whilst they could. But Makoto's mum, being the MVP, she threw herself in front of her child. Now she's the one at the end of the episode as well, confirmed alive but unconscious, where Go tells him, you've got to go. Somebody is now out to get you. She begs him to go. This leads back into our opening sequence where we see Makoto running from the G-Boys and now they want him dead. Makoto needs to figure out who set him up before it is too late. And this next sequence really, really confirmed it. It was the nail in the coffin. I started to write a few little bits and pieces here that I've written. Okay, it's definitely Isegai, Utsumi and his Kansai group. Clearly Isegai is working with the Kansai group. This is definitely it. Where Isegai calls Makoto, who is hiding at this point for his life. This is what confirmed it, because I knew what he was doing. Obviously, we've seen that Makoto was spied upon. So when Makoto was hiding and the G-Boys are trying to find him and he's hiding for his very life, he gets a phone call which alerts the G-Boys to his exact location. They turn around, suddenly they know where he is. The phone call was simply to get him noticed. He manages to slip them, and eventually he makes the horrible mistake of calling Isekai back to talk about that image. And Isekai plays coy. He pretends he knows absolutely nothing. He pretends to know nothing about Mitsuki killing King. I kept writing King at this point because I believed he was dead. Apparently he's not, but I don't think it... let's say attempted killing. Mitsuki's attempted killing of King. But again, at this point, we don't know if King is going to make it. So he could, at this point, be dead. Where we see behind him, Utsumi is preparing the Red Angels for war. Red Angels are going to war and there's going to be bloodshed. Isekai asks, "Can I meet with you?" And I was like, he's going to kill you. Do not say yes. Don't you dare say yes to agree to meet with him. Where Makoto thankfully dismisses the meetup and says, "Can you find Mitsuki? Because there's something wrong with him." Too late. It is way too late. He hangs up because he's essentially interrupted by the G-Boys locating him. Ironically, because somebody was giving him his information. That is where we see Isekai tracing Makoto's actions. He has a pinpoint exactly where he is. He's guilty. Isekai is feeding his location, oddly enough, to the G-Boys, which is a bit weird. That's the only thing which didn't make sense in my head. It's the fact that the information is being fed to the G-Boys, not just the Red Angels. So somebody's giving information to both sides. We see Koichi breaking my heart even further, going down the ranks now. And he orders the G-Boys to be completely removed from Ikebukuro. He says there will be a blood payment. There is going to be war. Go back into the open where the G-Boys are chasing after Makoto. The G-Boys and the Red Angels start to fight. We start to get quite a few of these scenes. I can't really show too many of the G-Boy Red Angel conflicts. You guys know there's just a load of them. It literally goes nuts. The entire Ikebukuro area is filled with these boys killing each other. Makoto now makes probably the best thing which saves his life. He ditches his gun. And thank God he is able to turn off his phone. And I even said, you turning off your phone is probably going to save your life because you won't be able to track a turned off phone. Makoto calls Big Ray from a phone booth and tells him, it was Mitsuki. Mitsuki was the one who shot King. Sadly as well, Big Ray, I know why Big Ray's doing it, but I'm sad because... I'm just sad. I'm really sad Becker hours here. Ray tells him, you've got to hand yourself in, even if that is the case. But Makoto says, no, I need to find the culprit. I need to locate the culprit. Ray traces Makoto's location and sells him out to the cops. And yes, we know Big Ray is a member of the cops and he's simply just doing his job. But it is sad because obviously Big Ray is somebody Makoto thinks he can trust and he's gone to him to try and ask for help. But he's simply just going to get himself handed in. And again, he tells him, you need to hand yourself in. Makoto is given an update quickly that King and his mum are both unconscious but both still alive. And Makoto just hangs up and he says, I've got to do it my way. But Big Ray is now chasing Makoto. We see the Red Angels starting to dominate the G-Boys a bit. Every shot they kind of gave us, it looked like the Red Angels were kind of winning. But this might just be the case that I think there's deaths on both sides. We also get the sad side effects of this as well, that citizens simply wearing red or blue are being targeted and they're also now in danger. It is spilling over the edge and we can see the toxicness and the danger of things like gang wars, and we can see how much damage is being done. Isekai is just a traitor and I hate him at this point, but I'm also kicking myself for not realising sooner that it was Isekai. I got it this episode, but I should have just started pinpointing him quite quickly because there were a few little tiny really giveaways, not massive ones, but tiny giveaways in the character design of him having wearing a lot of red. And yes, sure, he's a red angel, but his red was slightly lighter, and there's a few little giveaways which I'm just kicking myself for not picking up on. We get to see 01, our hacker. I have missed you, and I'm so happy that he actually doesn't turn Makoto away. Our hacker thankfully locates the image source. So he finds out that the image source is actually coming from Kobe. So the culprit is very, very cautious and very smart. They've managed to forward the image out of the area so they can't be located. He sadly says that we can't actually tell who took the photos. But then he asks to see Makoto's phone. And he is just a smart cookie. He works out that because Makoto said that there were pursuers everywhere, always waiting ahead of him, knowing where he was, that he's figured out that Makoto is being tracked. He's clearly being tracked, and that information was being fed to the G-Boys, which Again, it's probably the biggest little bit which struck me, that fact that whoever it is also helping the G-Boys out. It confirms a few little things that I've got in my brain, which I will discuss right at the end. The tracking app, which is installed on his phone, and I don't know, can you guys think of a moment where somebody actually had Makoto's phone in their hand? Because clearly he says that somebody's installed this on your phone. I know a few viruses, especially things like the internet ones. If you ever get like a virus sent to you via a email, if you click on the link, it downloads it for you. You basically confirm and you download it yourself by accident. So whether Makoto's clicked something by accident and it's downloaded it for him, has Isegai had Makoto's phone at some point? Maybe. Can't think of any moments coming to my brain, so it does make me wonder, when did Makoto have his phone out of his hand? Who has handled that boy's phone? And that is when Makoto is approached. I can't remember this guy's name. This detective man is somebody who is a friend. He's the guy who said he knew Makoto from a child, and the one who arrested him for being a peeping Tom. He is a good guy, and I'm glad that it was him who came in to grab Makoto, because we know he's there, if anything, to try keeping Makoto safe. And he gets taken in, he's as a witness. I think it's more the fact that they suspect him for murdering him. He's taken in for the King shooting to the police. In the car, Makoto tells him this is all a setup. The person who made Mitsuki shoot King and the one who took the pictures, it's the same person. That is the person who is behind all this. That's the person who has framed me. We find out Mitsuki is now missing, which does not bode well for him. The Red Angels, apparently, his friends, cannot contact him. Makoto asks once again, can you drop me off? Because Mitsuki could be in danger. But then he says, no, he could already be dead. Because essentially he's already shot King. He's done his job. He's probably going to be offed now, so nobody can track exactly who spoke to him, who told him to kill him, who gave Mitsuki that order. So it is very highly likely that Mitsuki is now dead. It's going to be very easy to say, oh yeah, he died in war, this war that is going on. So it's going to be very easy to just go, oh yeah, he's a casualty of this war. Very easy to hide the fact that he's been murdered by the Red Angels instead. Makoto says, I'm the only person who can stop this, so let me out. And the detective says, I'm letting you go voluntarily. You need to come back to the police for safety. And then he says, don't do anything that will make your mum cry, which is a very nice piece of advice there. Do like that guy. I'm so happy that he's actually allowed Makoto to go. I'm just sad. We get a nice little shot now of everybody. We get King in a critical condition. Makoto's mum also unconscious. The Red Angels, Isegai, the traitor, the evil bastard he is. Koichi looking quite sad, overlooking the entire cityscape of Ikebukuro, and we see Big Ray. Next week's episode will be part 2. It is also sadly our last episode. So will we figure things out? Is Makoto going to be able to solve it before his life as well is snuffed out? And it is quite sad, guys, that the only person who can actually confirm that Makoto isn't a killer is King. But King is now in such a critical condition that he can't tell anybody anything. Koichi is being played, and I know that I'm probably being very harsh by saying he's really fallen in the ranks with me, but I'm disappointed, but I get the fact that he is being played. He's being played by Isegai, he's being played by Utsumi. Those are the guys who are spurring him on to make these decisions. And obviously, he doesn't know that the initial guy who was stabbed was killed by Isegai and Utsumi, so it's all been set up. So he would see that and then go, yes, I've got to fight back. The fight in the opening sequence between King and Koichi is simply just now representative. We know it's representative. Also, it led us down a bit of a red herring. King is never going to get a chance to fight Koichi. I also am concerned. I believe that King actually might die. That is going to be my predictions. I don't think he's going to make it out of this, sadly. I also have put, will Shadow help Makoto? It would be nice to see Shadow be brought back into this and help Makoto out, because he does seem like the kind of guy who could probably deal with something this serious. He did say as well, next time make sure that my case has more bite. Well, what more? How much more bite do you need, mate? I do feel sorry. Makoto is the person that I feel absolutely dreadful for, because he is a mediator. He is the person who is literally in between. He's always, all he's ever done is try to do the right thing. He's tried to solve fights. He's tried to work things out and help people out. He's helped the Red Angels. He's helped the G-Boys. And now we know that he also should be dead right now. He should also be laying in a pool of blood next to King. We do oddly get normal credits. We don't get the crying Makoto credits, which we normally get. I want to mention a few things, and I'm going to give you what I think is going on. I want to make a bet to say that Isegai was all along working for the Kanzai group. I believe he is the one who is benefiting, him or Utsumi, but I believe they focused in so much on Isegai, it's Isegai. And as well, that betrayal means more to us than Utsumi, who we've only just met this episode and we've not actually seen him before. I believe it's Isegai. I believe the person he's working with is definitely going to have a Kanzai accent. I believe they are here to cause this turf war, and what they want the most, they're going to try and get something out of the two groups fighting, because at the end of the day, both the Red Angels and the G-Boys are killing people, so they're both at this point probably going to get stamped out. They're both going to be outlawed, hopefully by the police. And it's going to be who stands to gain. Well, who's going to own the streets when both those groups are taken into custody? It's going to be Isegai and the Kanzai group. So I think next episode, hopefully, we're going to see Makoto figure that out and get to the point I've got. The events as they go, the boy stabbed at the start was killed by Isegai or the Kanzai group members. So the boy at the start was killed by the Red Angels. Koichi has seen the dead body, presumed it's the G-Boys, and then he started his war. It's not. The G-Boys are simply reacting to the fact that both sides are getting very, very hot-headed. So neither side is totally free of blame. Red Angels sadly carry more blame at that point. King, then, being absolutely innocent, is completely off because obviously he's the one who could have controlled the G-Boys. With King now out the picture, the boys are going to rampage because they believe that their king has been shot and they think it's the Red Angels who have done it, although they also think it's Makoto, which is quite sad, Makoto being that loose element, because obviously it would have made more sense if Makoto had died, because they would have shot a picture of Mitsuki holding the gun above both their bodies. I think that's what would have happened. So obviously there was a muck up. Makoto wasn't supposed to survive. It was meant to be Mitsuki who was portrayed as killing both of them, which would have spurred the G-Boys into action. And now that Makoto has been framed for the killing, the G-Boys are still trying to kill him, but they're also fighting back against the Red Angels because Makoto was on both sides, so they believe that the Red Angels are also to blame. And now, obviously, there is this war going on. King can't stop it because he's in a critical state. That's where I believe everything's going on. I believe that the people at fault is Isegai and this Kanzai group. But, man, the betrayal of Isegai and how absolute evil he is, and we do get that picture of him in the shower, absolutely just that horrible cold smirk. They're knowing that he's killed people, knowing that he's happy that he's finally getting his plan in action. But it's just so sad that it's now that he's chosen to act. And it's come off the back of us seeing them happily working together. And we saw that Koichi thought of King as a friend, and now that's all gone to pot. It's a hard episode, and it's painful as well because it's come off the back of me coming into two of my videos this week have just been very heavy and hard to react and hard to record. Yesterday's episode was awful, and it's a great episode, and if you're interested, you can go and see the video itself. It's just been two heavy episodes, and I'm so sad. I'm concerned that my boy is in danger. I also think King is going to die, and I'm going to be so sad if that is the case, but I think he might, because obviously he's also the only other person who can back up the fact that Makoto didn't kill him. I'm so sad, guys. I'm so sad. And all this time I've been pointing fingers at King, and it's actually not him. Next week's episode, I'm anxious for it, but I really, really hope that we can solve the mystery. And I don't know how it's going to solve. I really hope we don't also go out on a cliffhanger, because I don't think this anime is going to get a season 2 greenlit because it's not performing very well. So I really hope that they can actually pull it off and give us a decent ending and not a cliffhanger. Save my Makoto. It's Makoto's sad boy hours right now. It's a really good episode, but oh my god, was it just twisting and turning, and I was on the edge of my seat, and I was just so worried. And I'm just so angry as well. I'm angry at Isegai. I'm angry at Koichi. I'm just angry, guys. I really hope we can figure things out next week. I hope you guys too are okay and you guys have survived the episode we've had and you're feeling somewhat okay. We all can have an e-hug right now. Here's an e-hug. But I am nervous. I hope next week we get a great ending of this anime. Thank you guys for tuning in again, and thank you guys for staying with me as I've recorded every week on this anime, and just thank you so much for your support. I hope you are staying safe, guys. Have a good one.